The stalemate between Nick Robertson and the Toronto Maple Leafs is over. We'll discuss the signings and what other moves the Leafs are rumored to still be working on coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some breaking news from the NHL. We have a signing with the Toronto Maple Leafs and Nick Robertson. The stalemate between the two sides has come to a close, and Robertson has signed a one-year deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs valued at $875,000. Now, like many people have said in recent days, it did not make sense for Robertson to continue to hold out and to possibly miss training camp. Now, I understand that he wanted a trade, he wanted a fresh start, and obviously it can be difficult sometimes to disagree with that without knowing everything that went on behind the scenes and the circumstances. But the general belief was that Robertson, even though he had a decent year last year in Toronto, putting up 14 goals, he still had an up and down year in and out of the lineup. Short leash with Sheldon Keefe, but at the same time, there's been changes with this lineup. Bertuzzi's not there anymore. There is a spot on the left wing that's somewhat up for grabs that he theoretically, if he goes into camp and plays well, should be able to grab. The belief was as well that with new head coach Craig Berube that he may not be keen on, thinking he's going to get a big chance because, with Berube typically likes a more, bigger physical style of player. So I understand why and where everything came from in regards to not wanting to sign, not wanting to be a Leaf and wanting a fresh start. But the Leafs basically, it sounds like they kind of said, we're not trading him. We want him to stay, and we want him to try to work this out, and they were able to convince him to sign. So I think it's probably wise and his best move right now. Go to camp, play well, maybe you grab a spot, maybe it works out, and even if it's, even if he's not loving it, but he can play okay, he'll have a lot better chance of getting a trade because there'll be more interest for one. The Leafs will be able to get a better return. They might be more willing to entertain that. So we'll see. Either way, this will certainly dissipate those trade rumors for at least the short term. We'll see how things go under head coach Craig Berube and whether or not there can be a longer term extension here for Robertson with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that part is done. He will go to camp as a signed player and have every opportunity. Now, the couple of things the Leafs are still working on as well. There is still potential to sign defenseman Jani Hakanpaa, and there is still interest in veteran forward Max Pacioretty, who could also come to camp and compete with a guy like Robertson for that left wing spot as well. I'm not sure Max Pacioretty is going to be a fourth line player. To me, he's going to be in ideally your top 6 or top 9, or it doesn't really make sense to have him in that kind of role where he's going to be, playing, 5, 6, 7 minutes, checking. Like, that's not his style of game. So those two players are still very much in consideration, but after the Robertson signing, there really is no more additional space in order to get those guys signed for the time being without making additional moves. The belief here from TSN's Darren Dreger is that out of the 3 options, they kind of prioritized getting Robertson done where he was an RFA. He could still be offer sheeted, and they didn't want to take the chance that that could still happen. So they got him looked after. They convinced him to sign, which is good. And now they can look at the other 2. If need be, if they can't figure out another move, they could always get them to come, if they agree to, of course, on a PTO and figure things out gradually, buy themselves a little bit of time if they're still insisting on signing. It's believed Hakanpaa is looking for around $1.5 million. I don't know what Pacioretty would want. I'm assuming it's probably going to be around that, veteran 1 year, $1 million range. So, could we see another move or so? Could it be maybe Connor Timmins gets moved? Or waived for that matter, or could it be, maybe a Kelly Yarncroke or somebody else who currently would grab a bottom 6 role. So we'll see what happens. But the Leafs and Brad Treliving are still kind of cooking some things up here and still working on figuring out their roster ahead of training camp opening. But for right now, the stalemate between Robertson and the Leafs is over. He is signed to a 1-year deal. So let me know your thoughts on him coming back to Toronto. Give me some predictions on how you think he's going to do for production this year. Do you see him hitting 10 goals, 15 goals, 20 goals? Do you think a trade happens mid-year? Let me know what you think in the comments so we can discuss it further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.